Makes my hair look really white. Bright light. Adds 20 pounds and gray hair. They said they joined. Where are they?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing? I'm Tim. I'm Tim Lee. I'm Bill's.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Good. I'm just trying to get some. He'll be right here.
Sure. No problem.
Just checking the lighting. Actually, well, I don't know what would be better.
Oh, that's fine. The way you had it, kind of in the corner.
This look okay?
Sure.
Or should we open?
No, that light's fine.
Let's see what this does if it opens the curtains here. That too much? Oh yeah, it kind of washes out.
It's probably too. Yeah, the way you had it before is fine.
The way we had it before was maybe. Yeah. There's too much sun here in California.
Oh, that's a good problem to have. Oh, that's good. That's a good balance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, Bill.
I have too much light on my end. We have no windows, so it's not no natural light.
Okay. So we're looking at Davenport on the 27th. That's what we're going to
April 27th. That's right. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Great, man. How are you? What's your name?
It's Jonathan Turner. I'm in the Quad Cities. I actually talked to you over the phone just a couple, maybe 3 weeks ago. I did a story for our website.
Yeah,
So we're in Davenport, Iowa.
cool.
So are you set to go? This is
Set.
So this is just for one of our daily segments that'll air, I think, the day before the concert. But
Right.
So how's the tour been going? I know did you start this one in January or February?
Yeah, we started back in January. Did a pretty extensive tour in Florida. And then February, we were on the East Coast, and now we're doing some stuff in the South. And it's good to be back to work, but boy, the traveling isn't getting easier, I'll tell you that.
Right. I mean, obviously you're 81 now, so does it get harder the more years you're on the road?
Yeah, it seems, it just seems like it. I mean, I've never liked traveling. I've always said, listen, you don't pay me to do the show, you pay me to get there. You pay me to travel. And so I've never been a fan of it, because now the airports they're all over the place. But it's worth it now once you get on stage and the audience is into it, and it's wonderful.
So, I mean, after over 2 years, yeah, it must be a great experience to see the audiences again.
I can't tell you how great it is. And my singing partner, Bucky, now, I mean, and the band and everybody involved, I mean, we just been sitting, waiting, I mean, in March of last year or 2020, they said, we're turning the lights off, go home. And, we all thought, well, this couple of weeks, month, Jesus. And it's been a tough couple of years for me. I've had some crappy things happen. And and getting back to work or working period is the medicine to all the bad stuff that's going on. So to have a couple of things go south on you, and then you just have to sit there in your living room and get beat up.
I know. So yeah, I had talked to you before about beyond COVID and things shutting down in 2020. You obviously had some major, personal things in your own life. Could you explain, what happened, how you recovered from those?
Well, the first thing, well, my wife, oh boy, had
Parkinson's?
Parkinson's. I'm sorry,
Sure.
starting to get it. She had Parkinson's for the last couple of years before and I had an operation, a throat operation, cancer, and it wasn't it was cancerous, but it didn't spread, and so that was a little scary. And my wife was going from California to Nashville to live next door to my daughter, and I was staying in California just long enough to recover from this operation. And when she got to Nashville, she was there about a week, and she got very, very ill. And so the operation was at the end of May, and then June the 8th, Paula, my wife, passed away. And that had just been just the weirdest thing in my life, because we go on the road now, and I have a beautiful condominium here. It's overlooking the ocean, the bay, and big yachts and stuff. And as wonderful as it is, when we get done with the tour, I don't know where to go. I don't know, because home is where my wife is. You probably know, that wherever your partner, your wife, your friends, and I have a lot of friends, and they all want to jump in and help, but that feels weird to me. So yeah, tough 2 years.
So how difficult was it after you lost her to not, you didn't have your concerts and touring to fall back on? So did you kind of go crazy a little bit?
A little bit. Yeah, I would say I went nuts quite a bit. And but I have a great son and his family, and McKenna, my daughter, and her husband, and they're out there in Nashville. And so I have a lot of people around me, but I just, and I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like that, but it just is something I've never, because we were married 34 years, and that's your partner, and I didn't really realize all that until she passed away, and how much I relied on her, and how much I needed her, and all the above. And then just to have it all ripped away, and then sit in your damn living room waiting to go back to work. It's very odd, very tough. I went a lot nuts, yeah.
Right. So then, when you're going back on tour, you're able to sing all these amazing songs and get back with Bucky on tour. Does it give the music more meaning? Is it more meaningful for you?
Well, the whole thing has a lot more meaning to me, getting back on stage and singing those songs, and the audiences are just always wonderful. And I even explained to the audience the other night, because they were just phenomenal. They were unbelievable. I said, I got to tell you something, when we walk out on this stage, you're our partner. You are easily, there's the band, there's us, and there's you. And so the audience just fills you up, and I had a lot of people say, when you're going to retire? And so I have to get a job first. I refuse to do that. And so I love what I do, but the audience, people say, well, how can you sing You've Lost That Love and Feeling 1,000,000 times? How many years? 50 years, 60? I'd say, if I had to sing it in the shower every night, I'd probably shoot myself. But when you go on stage, you never close your eye. The minute you do that, there's a magic that happens to the audience, to me, to the band. So I never get tired of it. It's like, going on stage, I've always said going on stage, especially in concerts, is like your first date. It's like your first date. You're going to get dressed up as you can, get your hair done, you're going to say all the right things, hopefully, and all that. And so it's really like a first date. So whatever the audience does is so important.
Sure. And you must get, I mean, you must get a lot of fans that have never seen you in person, or it's their first time seeing Righteous Brothers in concert.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell when you can see out into the audience. You can usually in shows you can only see about the first 3 rows, but yeah, the audiences have been phenomenal. And I think it was 2016 when I hooked up with Bucky, and Bobby passed away in 2003, and I wasn't looking to put it all back together. Obviously, how are you going to replace Bobby Hatfield? You just can't do that. And so I hooked up with Bucky, who's a phenomenal singer and a hardworking guy and a great guy. And I saw him doing a couple of Journey songs. I said, holy mackerel, if you can do Steve Perry, you certainly can probably do Bobby Hatfield. So, I mean, we advertise ourselves as the Righteous Brothers, but it's, Bucky is really there. We're there to pay tribute to Bobby Hatfield, and that's what he's doing. He's not replacing Bobby. He's filling in so we can bring these songs to the audience.
So can you talk a little bit about why you wanted to revive, the group in 2016? And you said a lot of people had asked you to bring it back.
Yeah, I just had a lot of people in the business, other singers and friends, my manager, agents, and I just wasn't up for doing it for the money or the, all that. I was up for doing it because, geez, I've worked years and years with the Righteous Brothers and hard on the Righteous Brothers, and just thought, well, I wouldn't have done it without Bucky Hurd. I can guarantee you that. I've sang on stage with 3 or 4, 5 different guys, kind of just seeing how it would feel to have another guy up there, and none of them felt right. It just never. There just has to be some sort of chemistry between the two, and apparently Bucky, God had his hands on this one, man. I couldn't have picked a better guy, but like I say, I wasn't looking to do it, turned it down, and for years. And but then when I heard Bucky and talked to a few of my friends, I said, well, if I'm going to do it, that would be the guy to do it with.
Right. And I mean, is it kind of a new lease on life for you? I mean, singing songs of your youth and going back to the 60s, does it give you new energy and a new kind of perspective?
Yeah, it does. I mean, Bucky sings. Well, Bucky, first off, was a huge Bobby Hatfield fan because he has that high voice, and but on stage, he just brings a different kind of energy that is acceptable to me. That feels comfortable. It'd be like going on a date with a great looking chick, but you hate her personality. It doesn't matter that you can do the gig. Can we get along? I mean, this is like a mail order bride, and it just worked, man. I mean, I'm just totally amazed because I know how tough it is to have partnerships or a band and marriage and all the above. So I was just really, really amazed at how lucky I got with Bucky Hurd.
Right. Does he I mean, you talked a little before about the importance of friendship and having that personal connection with your singing partner, and I mean, he's basically a kind of a new life partner for you. I mean, you're not married technically, but
Yeah.
it's kind of you're touring together and you really have a special bond.
Yeah, yeah, we do. And over the last, 5 to 6, well, now we were down for 2 years, but we had really become best friends. I mean, he really is, him and his family, has a beautiful daughter and a wonderful, beautiful wife, and we just really became family. And that's just so important, when you show up to go out on tour, that you're happy to see each other and blah blah blah, blah, and go out every morning when we're on the road. We get an Uber and we go have breakfast every morning together. And so yeah, it's just real important. It's a marriage, man. I mean, and when you're standing on the stage in front of 10 people or 50,000 people, God, if you're uncomfortable with your partner, it's death. And with Bobby Hatfield, I was blessed. We were great friends, and I loved the way he sang, and he would turn me on, I would turn him on stage, and the same thing with Bucky. He's just such a great singer, and just a good, hard working guy. I met him in Branson, Missouri, and I bet he had 5 different bands going at the same time. And at the same time, he was doing John Belushi as the Blues Brothers at a club, doing 12 shows a week. So being in Branson, which was a small place, that's how I got to know Bucky years before we put this together, And I didn't know that he was that good, because he was doing John Belushi. That doesn't take a lot of chops. It just takes a lot of personality and stuff, and acrobatics and all kinds of stuff.
Right, sure.
So, but when he left there and he went down the street to do this other show, and he did a couple of Journey songs, and I was just stunned. And that's, I was taking a walk the next day on by the lake, and I just said, wow, man, if I was going to do it, he's the only guy I think I would ever do this with. It would be pretty tough. And I've had a lot of people, even some stars, that wanted to fill in, and just never felt right. I don't,
Right.
When it's right, it's right, and when it's not, it's not.
And I mean, speaking of family, I know McKenna's on tour again with you. I mean, you do the Time of My Life with her in concert. What's that like?
It's the best thing in the world, man. I mean, I don't know if you have children or any of that, but boy, and she's so wonderful. She's a wonderful, wonderful girl, and she's got a great marriage and 20 acres in Nashville, and they're with chickens and stuff and all this. I asked her husband, I said, what'd you do to my Newport Beach, California daughter, for crying sake? But yeah, singing with her, because she's so good. I mean, she really is good. I know when I introduce her as my daughter, I know the audience is going, no, we got to live through this. And, but she's really, really good singer. And she has kind of become Bucky's and my personal road manager out on the road. She takes care of everything for us and makes sure that we get to the right place at the right time. And we've been known to get lost in an elevator, and that's the truth. So she has to take care of us.
And you said she usually does a one solo number during the concerts?
Yeah, she California Dreamin' is what she's been doing lately, and it's just, the audience they love it, and it's just kind of a perfect right-hand turn in the show to do that. It kind of, the audience can relax a little bit. I've always known that when we're standing right in the front on the stage, that the audience is a little, not unnerved or anything, but, and the minute you walk out into the back of the stage, you can just tell that the energy level and they get real comfortable. It's because you can look at them, you can say, oh God, they can see, you know. So
Right.
it's interesting.
And so, I mean, when you're coming to Davenport, our theater is about 2,500 seat theater. Is that a pretty standard venue for you?
Yeah, you know, oddly enough, we've been all over the place. We've worked places as long as they can pay the same money. I mean, it always
Right.
comes down to that, doesn't it? We've worked 500 seaters. We've worked 5,000 seaters. Been out on the road with the Beach Boys and the Temptations, where you're working, 20,000. But I would say that probably 2,000 would be a norm.
Right.
Somewhere between 15 and 2,000. But hopefully we'll do 25.
Good, right. And just last thing I wanted to ask, I mean, you've had such a long career, and is it difficult to name a highlight, like a peak experience, whether it was, during the 60s, and I know you worked with the Beatles and Elvis, and you played, did you have a peak, concert that you remember that really sticks out?
Well, all the Beatle tour concerts stick out because this was before Love and Feeling. And the poor kids that have come to the show didn't realize that they're going to have to live through an hour of opening acts. And so we had to get used to the audience, cheering and clapping. We want the Beatles. Oh, man. So that was like the boot camp of rock and roll. And the Beatles were great. They were wonderful. And we went on the tour with the Stones a few months after that, and they hadn't made it yet. I think the next weekend, they were the biggest thing in the world. But so that was a much better, pairing up. And they were great guys. I mean, they were real street guys. And the Beatles seemed to be a little more polished than the Stones. And Bobby and I weren't polished at all. We just kind of fell into it, and we sing what we sing the way we sing, we dress the way we dress, and hopefully that works. But the Stones were pretty much coming kind of where we were coming from.
Right. And are you surprised that, the Stones are still touring and Paul McCartney's still touring, and you guys are obviously have a lot of longevity?
Yeah. Bobby and I recorded a song in '63 called Little Latin Loopy Loo. Silly little song. We weren't even together. We weren't a partnership. We were in a band called the Paramours, and the record company wanted to do the song. They came into the club and said, boy, so we went in recording. We needed a name, and we picked out the Righteous Brothers, and could have used the Beatles name, but didn't.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, literally from '62, when it basically started, even in nightclubs where Bobby and I were working together, it's been a long, amazingly wonderful life. And having those movies in the end of the '80s, Top Gun, Dirty Dancing, and Ghost, and that we were back. Our music was back bigger than ever. And that's why people used to say, come on, man, you got to keep this stuff alive. And I'm blown away that 1,500 to 2,000 people will show up. I'm amazed. I'm amazed that I'm showing up.
Right.
Them.
Sure.
And they're just loving it. I remember, and I was on my own, and must probably in the 70s, and I was in Lake Tahoe in the lounge, and in the main room was Lawrence Welk, and all these elderly people were headed to the main room where Lawrence was, and one of my musicians was making fun of Lawrence and all that. And I said, man, I said, don't do that. Don't go there. Thank God for Lawrence Welk, that these people that were raised with him and this and that can go there, and they have a way to go back and relive. And I never forgot that. And so now that I'm Lawrence Welk, I keep that in mind, you know, that thank God we can come out here and create some memories for these people, and they're just wonderful people.
And yeah, I mean, I know for myself, I mean, great concerts, they stay with you your whole life. Those are some of the fondest memories people have.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously was raised on Little Richard, Ray Charles, and all those guys, and I went to see all of them. And it was such a needle in the arm. It was just like, wow, you know, and I loved it. And so now when Bucky and I put the Righteous Brothers back together, I know why the audience is there. I know that in the 60s, the girls would show up to see Bill and Bob, but now they're coming to hear that music and relive those memories. And I just don't understand a lot of artists that go on stage and refuse to do their hits. That doesn't make any sense to me. Or maybe they'll do one or two and say, this is on our new album. And Jesus, I'm 81. I ain't going to have a new album.
Right.
My last hit was I've Had the Time of My Life.
Right.
So we just do a real Righteous Brothers show. That's what you get. And hopefully we do all, I mean, we do probably about 16 songs, and they're all Righteous Brothers or related to Righteous Brothers. You know?
Right, right. Well, Bill, I really appreciate it. It was great to talk to you again. And hopefully this should air, I think, the Tuesday, the day before your concert here. And I hope you have a great turnout.
Well, listen, man, thank you. And I hope everybody shows up. I can guarantee them they're going to have a great time. If they don't have a great time, Bucky will pay them back.
Awesome. Well, you have a great rest of your day. Thanks a lot, Bill, for taking the time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Take care.
You too.